Welcome to Make Pods Great Again. I'm your host, John, back with my girl, Nikki. Nikki, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really hot tonight. It's like 90 something degrees and I just worked out. Super pregnant, sweaty, gross. But other than that, I'm fine.
It's warm here too, but I worked out in the basement today, so I did not have that problem. What was your workout? What'd you do?
Oh, it was gross. Well, it was supposed to be running and deadlifts, like 200-meter runs, then 10 deadlifts, 10 rounds, and then you rested 5 minutes, and then you did 5 back squats and 35 double unders for
Ooh,
7 rounds. It was like long and sweaty, but I obviously did some walking instead of running and some assault biking instead of double undering and some sumo deadlifts instead of. I'm making it work. We're making it work.
that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot
Yeah.
of stuff. I did a 30-minute bike ride on my C2 bike,
Ooh.
and then I went downstairs and I did 10, 8, 6, 4, 2 of back squats and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of strict handstand push-ups. So it was 10
Oof.
and 2, 8 and 4. And my goal was to do all the handstand push-ups unbroken. And I got through 8 of the round of 10 unbroken and I couldn't go. I was so mad.
Ugh.
Oh, so mad.
Heartbreaking.
I know. I'm like, come on, I just need 2 more. But I haven't done them for a month. So I felt really good that I got that far. So
Nice. It's a good push pull. Did you program that for yourself?
I did.
Hmm.
And I went moderate really heavy. Like I made pretty big jumps on the back squat. So and I was doing it every 2 minutes. It was a 10-minute workout. So you do one round every 2 minutes, and every round would take me like kind of right at 2 minutes, like because I'm changing my own plates and all that. So
That's good though. It's a good cadence.
yeah,
It's
it's
like
good.
you've been doing this for a while.
I know, right?
Yep.
I always laugh to myself and think, if I ever wanted to get around to owning a gym or just get my level one, I've been doing this for so long. Like I humbly really understand programming. Like I've just
Yep.
seen so much programming, you can't help but really understand it after a decade. And
Oh yeah.
um, I enjoy programming for myself. I'm not sure I would enjoy programming for others, but it's all good.
I coached my last class tonight ahead of my quote unquote maternity leave from the
Nice.
gym. Really, it's like, it's super hot in the gym. I'm on my feet, but it's really more like we're going away for the 4th of July, hopefully going away for games, like all that stuff. So
When they
it
give
just
you a
made
little
sense to
going
kind of.
away 45-minute workout on top
Yeah,
of
I
that.
know,
So,
right? Not fair, but
well,
it was
speaking
nice.
of really long workouts, we should bring up our sponsor, who are great at helping me get through long workouts.
Ooh,
They're
go
amazing.
on. Go
Yes. So
on.
UCAN, we've had UCAN on here before. I mean, like, I know I say this all the time, but I turn down sponsors. I turned one down today, by the way, for the
Oh,
Instagram page, and not for us, for the Instagram page. So don't yell at me.
I was like,
And
who was it?
well, I'm just not going to sponsor things I don't believe in. And this
No, I
UCAN
totally
stuff,
agree.
I love it. Like it is my go-to. I get these little squeezy. If anybody watches this, I got this little squeezy bottle, right? 70 calories, 15 grams of super starch. I'm telling you, I take one of these before, if the workout is anything longer than 20 minutes, I take one of these and I never hit the wall. And that is no
Yeah.
exaggeration. Now, keep in mind, I'm 50 and I have one speed. So take that into account. But I gave it to an 18-year-old kid who claims he's going to go to the game someday. And he came back the next day going, "Oh my God, what did you give me? That was the greatest thing
Ah!
ever."
No, it's true. I love working with UCAN because the squeezy packets, especially, they're actually called the Edge packet.
Right.
If you go on their website, it's called Edge Energy. And UCAN is really cool because of everything that they put into the squeezies and their granola and their bars and their whatever. Like they're literally making energy products, right? Because caffeine and sugar don't really last and they're not easily digestible, and UCAN has this sort of energy carby type formula that actually helps you without spiking your blood sugar levels and without letting you crash. So all their products are awesome, but the squeezies, i.e., the Edge energy packets, are our new favorite for
Yeah.
sure.
Keep calling them squeezy. This is why I'm not in marketing. And of course, you called it carby. So you're just as bad.
Well, but I like that UCAN is like just demolishing like the scariness around carbs, because carbs are energy and you need them to work out. So like carbs are not scary or bad. Like they have this super starch formula that they make, and we love it because it actually works. It actually like gives you the energy you need to work out.
So
Go
here's,
figure.
let me tell you what I love about this as a master's athlete. A
The
lot of
squeezies.
people, you're gonna appreciate this in the state that you're in, and you
Oh,
probably will. The state after you have the baby is that I don't like to drink big shaker bottles of pre-workout because it makes me have to go pee like 2 or 3
uh-huh.
times before the workout, and so I can take these and I don't have to at all because there's no liquid. It's just a it's like a gel. It's almost like a gel you would take when you're running a marathon.
Yeah.
Not quite as not as sugary and not as
Yep.
gross as those things. And
Yeah, those are gross.
so for me, like that's the point. Like I don't have to go hit the bathroom 2 or 3 times before I go do double unders.
Yeah,
It's great.
fair. Relatable.
Yeah,
Girl, I hear you.
that
Well, if you want to
will be
try,
you soon.
that is me already. If you want to try some squeezies, i.e., some Edge Energy, or anything else from UCAN, check them out. It is UCAN, ucan.co. You can enter code WODS, WODS, for a discount off your first order, and or I think there's a link in your bio, right?
Yes, link in my bio.
And worth mentioning, just as a little segue, that some top UCAN athletes like Scott Panchik and Emily Rolfe have qualified for the games this season. And we are talking about the remaining athletes who are still going to be fighting for just two more spots at the games after this weekend's Last Chance Qualifier.
And it's a stacked field, man. I was looking at it. Of
Yeah.
course, obviously, Spencer and Fee are two that I know personally, and so I was kind of thinking this morning, okay, well, they'll be the cream of this crop. And then I pulled it. I'm like, damn, that's a good crop. It's gonna
I
be
know.
really hard to, especially if you're only taking two. So tough.
I know. And really interesting workouts, in my opinion, to like base this last qualifier off of. Like really classic CrossFit. So I understand the theory behind it, but also like kind of low skill, kind of like very accessible. It's just interesting. Like I think I understand the complete test where we've gone from here, because all of these athletes have now done the open and done the quarterfinals. They've been to a live semi. So like here's the last stage. It is very complete as a test, but just like interesting programming to now judge who the final athletes are going to be, I think.
Yeah, I thought so. I actually watched the videos today. That's how much I love you, Nikki. Did my research.
Oh, you did research. Thank
I
you.
I did. I watched and because I thought the same thing. Like I saw the workouts and I tried to reserve judgment. Like at first glance, you're like, what is this boring stuff? And then I started thinking about it. Like I sat on it for a night and started thinking about it. I'm like, well, if you've got, however many athletes this is, 20 athletes or so on each side that are trying to qualify, you just want to get the best two. You don't
Yep.
need to get fancy.
Correct.
Traditional CrossFit's the way to go. And so in that
Yep.
regard, really kind of nailed it. And then they're kind of sneaky hard when you really look at them, like the 100 burpees with a 12-inch target,
Oof.
above your reach is actually harder than even that. So they start behind a line, they have to step up to a line, and then they're touching the 12-inch target is against a wall. So imagine reaching to with your outer hand, your inner hand, right? The one closest to the wall. And at 50 burpees, they have to turn and face the other direction. So it's really specific direction. So there will be it won't be as easy as just coming in and doing 100 burpees real fast. Like there's a little strategy involved, I think. It's going to be awkward and weird for them because they're
Mm-hmm.
doing burpees next to a wall. You have to be really deliberate about where your feet land so you can reach up and touch that target. Like it's kind of, I'm not going to call it genius, but it's low key sneaky by Dave.
It
So
is totally low key sneaky and some shit that we can all relate to, which is my favorite. I mean, obviously, like these elite athletes and what they can do and what they're capable of are so beyond anything I can even comprehend.
yeah.
But when you look at just coming up from the community and where they're landing and how they're being tested, I love a solid test that we can all relate to. We've all done 100 burpees,
Yeah, and then three rep deadlift, which I think it's
spicy,
yeah, it is. It's a movement everyone can do, but I would suspect it's not something these athletes are in working on every day.
right?
So it'll
Right.
be interesting to see who pulls that. No pun intended.
Eh,
And then I thought the one with the rowing and the the hang dumbbell snatches was interesting because it'll probably come down to whoever's the best rower. Like that one's going to really hurt. It's going to hurt really, really bad because all of those athletes will be able to do those snatches unbroken. What's the rep
Yep.
scheme? It's a weird rep scheme, like
It's like 40
42.
something, 30 something. Like
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
But it's not prohibitive enough for a games athlete where they will have to break it. So
Right.
they'll blow through those, and then you got to get on that rower and blow your lungs out. And that's gonna hurt. It's
Well, and
whoever can
it's
go to that spot the hardest will win that.
and it's pull. So
Yeah.
like it's how do you mitigate this sort of like stimulus back to back? How good are you of an athlete that doesn't bug you, and or how well can you game it so that you can mitigate the difficulty of a pull stimulus?
Well, like I was looking at these workouts and thinking of some of the athletes that we've seen recently. And so you and I were at West Coast Classic, and on the men's side, there was, my bro, Spencer Panchek,
Mm-hmm.
and Dolan Pepper, who's also a bro, by the way. Love that dude.
Yup.
Will be going head to head again, right? And they are almost opposite athletes. So Dolan, if I'm probably butchering his name,
Dallin, but you're
Dallin,
close. You're close.
Dallin,
That's good.
close enough.
Yeah.
And again, nicest kid you'll ever meet, by the way. Great
Yeah.
family, like really good dude. Big. He's a big boy.
That happened out of nowhere. Can I
Yeah.
just say, hold on, can I just say this real quick? Side note, I've been interviewing Dallin since he was 15 years old, okay? Because I'm old and I did age groups for a long time at games. And so I know the family really well, and I've known him since he was a child. He I don't understand. Like I look back at photos of the two of us. I have pictures of the two of us together every single year at games. He is a monster. They did not make 19-year-olds looking like that when I was 19. I'll tell you
He's
that
like two
much.
men. He's not even one man. He's like two men. He's so big.
Insane. And now he's like old. He's like grown up. He's married. Like I can't believe I like look at him and
Yeah.
I'm like, I like knew you when you were just a baby.
He's got
I'm
gray hair. He's
so
on a
no.
retirement plan.
His knees hurt.
His knees hurt. He complains about his low back. No, he's a big boy. So, he'll likely kill the 3 rep dead max. You would imagine. Big guy. Now he's also tall, so that might hurt him. But like we know he's strong. We know he's really strong, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he should do well at that. He's also tall. He is tall, like
Yep.
especially compared to this field. So he should do well in the row.
Yep.
So those two should be really good for him. But then I look at the other two workouts and I do like Spence, who is also very strong and is a good rower, but he is smaller. He's lighter. Like he should be able to kill that burpee wad, and he can go to that place where you need to. And then the final WOD, which I can't remember the entire thing, but it's like squat cleans and rope climbs and like
it's double unders, squat cleans, and legless rope climbs, and then the squat cleans get heavier, but the rep scheme gets smaller.
like you put a pan check near a rope and they are going up it. Like
Totally.
that's their thing, So my point to that is it's going to be really interesting to see 4 classic workouts and to really see how the field breaks out. I'm not just with those two, just see how the field breaks out, where they're strong, where they're not as strong. It's gonna be a fun weekend, to say the least.
Do you want to throw some names out there, some picks?
Yeah,
for the top spots?
Yeah, so all right, we'll start this. So I'm already talking about men. Why don't we just stick to the men for a minute? So I was looking at kind of each event that they came from. So Atlas, Mid Atlantic, Granite Games, West Coast, German. We don't have to go through all of them, but I think James Newberry is a name that everyone should recognize, and he's in the States now. He's in Nashville, so
he's training with the Proven team now.
Yeah, I know. And we do love us some James Newberry, and he was right on the but he almost qualified. I think he was one spot out at Torian, if I remember right. So really solid on his part. Coming out of Asia, Roman Krenikov, you can never count that guy out. So, again, big, strong dude. A couple of those workouts will really lend toward what he's really good at. I think obviously Spencer and Dallin are theirs. And actually all 3 coming out of West Coast. Cedric LaPlante, had a great weekend. So I think any of those you would likely see, and there's no offense to the others. There are a lot of really talented athletes in the others, but for me on the men's side, that's kind of the cream of the crop. Anybody I missed, in your opinion?
I don't think it's a question of, you're not missing anyone. There are just so many great names that it's like, it's hard to like, I don't know how you decide on like just 2 or just 4. I'm totally with you on James. I think that I think Roman was like on my list, but then I have questions on whether or not he can even like make it to the US. So if I'm actually looking at who I think is going to qualify, totally agree on James. I totally agree on Dallin. There's a couple, like, in my opinion, kind of like out of left field guys that might surprise us because these are sort of like big boy workouts, like big, powerful dude workouts. Giannis Papadopoulos out of Greece. That's a big boy, and we know he's strong. So I just feel like he might not be a name that you're really considering, but looking at the programming, you might want to start thinking about. And then I am a huge fan of Dennis Samsonov, who is the fittest wizard. I don't know if you guys follow him.
Oh, is that him?
That's totally him. Isn't that cool?
I kind of want him to get in now just so he'll do a dance at the games.
I know. So, but like, it's just wild. Like, it's such a stacked field. Any of these guys could go. Alexander Caron, we've seen such great stuff from. Tyler Christoffel has been getting better and better every single season. Oh, but if I just, oh wait, but then Angelo DiCicco, completely forgot that he qualified out of the MAC. Do you know he wasn't even supposed to do the Open this year? He wasn't going to because he was hurt. He hurt his back like real bad, and he wasn't training, and he sort of like ditched super competitive CrossFit from when he was a teen, and he became a firefighter and was like working on his career and like being a young man, and wasn't even going to do the Open, and then did the Open and got to the MAC and then almost qualified out of the MAC. So I don't know. I'm going to say James and Dallin are the 2. I'm going to just go for it. So I'm in agreement with you.
Well, if I got to go down to 2, I'm doing Spence and James. Those are my 2. But Dallin's on my hot list.
Spence is on my hot list. How do you pick just 2? It's like picking your favorite kid.
I know. The truth is, Spence was one event away from qualifying. If it wasn't for that ruck round, he would have qualified. He killed those. He killed those last 4 workouts at West Coast. All right, women. You go first. You got
women. Okay. I have Steph.
Of course,
and
she's your
it's
bestie.
not just because she's my bestie, but also because just the level of fitness that she showed at Granite and her like comeback kid, that's who she is. She's so injured. Like, she hurt her elbow first thing in the snatch, and she was still able to make it to this Last Chance Qualifier. So if she's healthy, I just think she is a force to be reckoned with. And then if I had to pick one more, I think I would pick Fee.
Yeah,
but then it's just tough. I also want to pick Alexis Raptis. But I also want to pick Christy Armo. Help me. I don't know.
Well, so I'm just going to kind of go through each event. I love Paige Semenza. Just as a person, she's a total sweetheart. Looking at this field though, I think, and the way the workouts stack up, I think Fee has a really good shot. Like, the workouts kind of lend towards some of her strengths. Christy Aramo, I would never count her out of anything. I think she tends, at least, I hear people say she tends to be more of an endurance type athlete, and none of these are really endurance WODs. Like, none of them are very long, but she's a veteran. Right. And I've said forever, like, don't ever count out a vet, ever. Like, people that have been around the game for a while that really understand it, get into a competition, they do well. Obviously, Steph, gotta love her. Emma Tall, who had a great, German. There's a little part of me that wants Emma to go just to get redeemed for that whole
drama,
the whole debacle that went down with that. So, we'll see how she does. And again, it's the second online competition for her, and if it seems to be a good format for her, so she might do really, really well. If I had to go to 2 though, I think we're probably going to be in alignment, Fee and Steph.
Okay.
Nicole McGinney. I mean, there's so many good ones here. I don't know.
There's a lot of women who come with a lot of experience. Maddie Sturt's in the field, Alethea Boone's in the field, Karen Frey's in the field, like just women who have been in competition over and over again. And I wonder how much that is going to matter now that we've done these sort of like back to back to back to back competition. They haven't had a lot of turnaround time from these semis. So it'll be interesting to see, exactly how they did they know how to taper their training? Did they know how to recover well? Do they know how to get back to it? And I think that some experience is going to play into that. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, it will be. I mean, because you think the ones that competed in as an example at the MAC have had far more time to recover and train than those who are at the West Coast Classic. But
Yep.
there's also the argument that you're still in pure competition mode coming off West Coast Classic. So
Yep.
I don't know. For events like this, I tend to think whoever has the most games level experience or the most competition experience has the best shot. And on the women's side, that's probably Steph, Christy, and Fee.
Christy.
You know,
Yeah.
but that's no slight to anyone that's on this list. Like, there's so many good athletes on both sides. Like, we could, next week we could be talking about Christine Colenbrander and Tyler Eggeman and
Oh, for sure.
how they dominated this, because they're all great athletes. There's no one on this list that's not a great athlete. So the only thing I wish, we don't need to get into the full discussion, but they just announced they're not going to name backfill for people who can't make it. And
Mhm.
there's a little part of me that wishes they would force you to prove you can make the trip before you compete. You know what I mean? Like, James is in the
Oh,
state, so we know if he makes it, he's going, he's here. But if Roman wins this thing and then can't make the trip, they're not going to backfill him, or so I understand.
right. But I also don't think it's fair because these athletes can't necessarily get like guarantees from their
Yeah, I get
countries
that.
like
And I don't want to
annually.
penalize them, but there's the other part of me that's like, all right, so he knocks out somebody in the States by 1 point and he can't go, and the kid that got knocked out by 1 point who's equally fit doesn't get to compete at all. Like, just kind of sucks. And I know the
I
argument, like,
actually,
I'm getting yelled at last night for people going, well, they didn't qualify, so they don't deserve it. I'm like, I get that. But the
eh,
people that aren't going have a pretty good sense they're taking the gamble. It's like, I don't know.
well,
I just
I don't know. I think everyone on this list is taking the gamble. I think travel is difficult for everyone, and I think that everyone qualified up to this point, so they should get the exact same shot to go on from here. I actually don't mind not backfilling because we are so close to the event. Like that is backfilling at this point is just it sounds like a logistical nightmare to me. It's these people are going to qualify, they need a certain amount of time to figure out whether or not they can even come, and then you start backfilling, and then we're like 2 weeks away from games.
well, I
Like
guess
I'm already stressed out about booking my ticket and or planning my car ride. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I'm with you, but as a spectator, and I will be a spectator there, 1 in 5 won't make this trip. And so I'm paying full price for 80%, which kind of sucks.
but you're paying full price for the top athletes still. You are seeing the top athletes, and whether or not they didn't miss the qualification by 1 point or 100 points, they didn't qualify.
No, you could have somebody if you stack rank this whole field, you could have the person stack rank number 2 not be able to make the trip. You're not going to get all the top athletes.
No, I'm talking about backfilling. If you are backfilling, like if the top athletes from this last chance
Yep.
qualifier will
Will
go.
never convince me that if, James Newberry finishes third this weekend, that he couldn't go to the games and still win it. It's a different event, totally different event.
I don't disagree with that. That I don't disagree with, but this is the format we've got.
Yeah, no, I just think I think it's a shitty format. That's my point.
Oh,
Like,
I don't mind of all the different tests we've had so far, and we've had so many different ones in person and not in person, and in your gym, and I mean, and given the state of the world still, I I like where we're landing.
yeah, I
But
know.
I hear your argument. I do hear your argument.
I just feel bad for the teens and the masters. It's less the games athletes, where I know we'll still get, they'll still get 20 really good. If they have 1 in 5 that can't make it, you'll still get 20 really good athletes.
Yeah.
I just feel bad for the teens that aren't going to get the chance to have that competition when you will have some really good athletes that could make the trip. I understand the whole argument. It's just, there's also something to be said for building the sport up and giving people experience. And where it's not like we're paying the teens anyway. They don't get paid a cent to do this. It
No,
costs
I
them
agree.
all money. So
No,
if they
that I
want to
do
come,
agree
let
with.
them come.
Yeah.
It's like, it's different than the elites that are getting paid if they, get there.
Well, getting paid if they win.
Yeah, if they place, you know,
Right. Yeah.
getting paid poorly, but was a whole different podcast.
We don't have time for that.
We'll do that podcast another night
Okay, deal. Sounds good.
when I can rant about that stuff. But this will be a fun weekend. I am excited to see it. It's fun watching. So,
Yeah.
um, although I have no idea how are they broadcasting this. You're the
Yeah, so yeah, I will tell you. So we are doing some virtual coverage. I'll be doing virtual sideline reporting, kind of like I did for the Lowlands Throwdown a few weeks ago. So if you keep an eye on games.crossfit.com, we'll have recaps. Athletes are going to send in their videos. They did a really good job of it, in my opinion, last time, where they like put a bunch of videos on the screen simultaneously, so it kind of felt like you were watching live competition. And I'll be doing I'll be doing Zoom sideline interviews, so be able to hear from the athletes, and it should be really, really cool. You know, we're making it work. These athletes are all over the world, and some of them are waking up early, and I'm staying up late to talk to them about how it's been going for them. So definitely check it out, tune in to watch.
I know I bitch a lot, Nikki.
Mm.
However, I will say you guys have done a really nice job with how difficult it is to interview people all over the world and
Thanks.
all the online stuff that they're doing. And like, I know it's, you know, particularly for a company this size, it is a logistical nightmare. So I'm not
Yeah,
going to quit bitching,
it's fine. Neither will
but
I behind the scenes either. But
but
we're
I do understand it's hard
not.
work. And I want to say out loud, you know, I respect how hard people are working because I get that.
No, thanks. Yeah, the production team, especially on the back end. I mean, these people are up literally 24 hours a day on competition weekends to get the footage and ingest it and cut it all and make it look good. So shout out to all those guys in the back, Charlie and Irv, and those guys that are, man, they don't sleep. At least my interviews are like 10 minutes at a time. I can take a break.
Well, I'm excited to see it. So after this, what do we have next? So we've
Ooh, I'm excited. So, before we close out the show, we have an awesome clip to share with everyone. This was inspiration from our dad series that we kind of started to do around Father's Day of this year. And we've been catching up with the fathers of games athletes, elite athletes, to kind of get some interesting perspective on what it's like to have an elite athlete in your family, and also like trying to get some dirt on the girls and boys, obviously. But this was one of my favorite episodes that we recorded. It's a short interview with Papa Cary, i.e., the chillest man on the planet.
He is very chill. They were so cute. I thought he is just a proud dad of a 19-year-old girl. You know, she
Yeah, and
19 or she 8? No, she's 17, right?
baby.
Yeah,
She's
just a
a baby.
baby.
And we talked to him like just after Emma Cary, his daughter, did so well at the Granite Games. So we had like that energy and that big dad energy, if you will, to go off of. So I've been excited to share this interview with everyone for a couple weeks now.
You know, what we'll have to do next is we'll have to get Saxon to come on to talk about his new twins, and then
Oh, who are they? You have a name for them?
yes, oh, the pan chicks. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
so disappointed he hasn't used that joke yet. They're so cute. Oh my God, they're so cute. But we're
So
gonna have his dad on, and we should get Saxon on to talk about his twins. And Pat Vellner has a baby now, so we got to get him on to talk about his baby.
there's so many athletes, and then in August we can get Matt on to talk about his baby
I
that
know.
I make for him.
I'm gonna get Matt to come on just to describe what it was like to watch you give birth.
Oh my God, he's good. He would tell you everything too. I think he wants to like watch. Did you watch?
Twice.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah. I wouldn't give that back for all the money in the world.
I like that. I think he's like so interested in like the science and the miracle of life and all that good stuff. I mean, I like don't dig when dudes are like, don't look because you'll never be the same. Like, okay, come on.
Well, I'm scarred. Don't get me wrong.
You are.
Yeah. I'm scarred for life. No, it's nasty. You
Yeah,
can't
of course.
there's nothing you can do about it. But you also like, come on, you watch your kid take their first breath. I might start crying talking about it. We gotta go talking about this. I'm telling you, it's like it's an amazing experience both times. Like you go on the second time thinking, all right, I'm a pro at this now. I'll hold it together. And you find yourself you're sobbing like a wuss, just you
Oh,
know, holding your baby as they're taking their first breaths. It's crazy. It's yeah, it's very cool.
I love it. I love it. Well, bring that that big dad energy. You bring it to you and Papa Cary. So
Done. Consider it done. All right. Well, this is fun, Nikki, as always. And for everyone listening, we appreciate you guys joining. Make sure you tune in and see if we were right on our predictions. Fun fact, we probably weren't.
oh
And
yeah.
we will chat with you guys soon. Welcome to Make Pods Great Again. I'm your host, John, back with my girl, Nikki. Nikki, how are you?
I'm good. 2 nights in a row I get to see you.
I know. And you look like you're trying out for Greece. Look at you. You got your little hair
You like
thing
it?
in and your
Yeah.
glasses on and wearing pink. You rocking it.
I think I'm trying to bring it back.
I
Let's
like
bring
it.
back this look. Why not?
It never left. It never
Yeah.
left. Well, we are on our third series of Father's Day posts. And before we jump into it, did you see O'Roy on the CrossFit Instagram page today?
No, tell me.
Yes, it's on. He's on there. I'd shared a post with them. God, it was like during the open. I don't know like what made him find it and decide to post it, but all of a sudden there's O'Roy on the CrossFit main page, the actual CrossFit page. I'm like, he's going to be insufferable now. This is all I'm going to hear from him is how famous he is in CrossFit and
Uh,
everybody being so inspired by all his burpees. I'm like, okay, whatever. But
he thinks he's the famous one of the two of you.
he is the famous one of the two of us.
He is. Yeah, I'll agree with that.
He owns it. And believe me, my mom never hears otherwise. He just, that's all he talks about. It's great. It's really good stuff.
I love it. Perfect. Very appropriate and timely given that we're doing this little Father's Day series leading up to Father's Day 2021. And we have Mike Cary, who's Emma Cary's dad here. And thanks so much for joining us, Mike.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
You're probably the most famous dad of the moment, I would imagine. Emma's on
Right?
fire.
I think it's well, it is a little different because we live in a pretty rural town, pretty small town, and you know, people are asking me now, "Are you Emma's dad?" When they see me, and it's certainly not about me anymore, which I couldn't be happier about. So yeah, I don't know if I'm famous or not, but I sure am proud. I know that.
Well, Mike and I have been exchanging DMs now. It's been, feels like a couple of years now. Like, I started following the teen athletes. I mean, like everybody else, but when I went, I think the last time I was at the games, I was following, I got a chance to, kind of catch up on Emma's career at the time. And like, you could always kind of tell, at least I feel like I can, you can always tell like the difference in the teens, like the ones that you go, all right, that one's going to be special. And then there are others that are just good teen athletes, and there's no offense to them. It's just like, you can tell. And like Emma was one I thought early on, I'm like, she's something different about her. And Mike would message me and like, things she was doing or whatever. And then it just, this last year, just a ridiculous year for her. Like every time she does something, I'm like, oh my God, how did she clean that? Or how did she snatch that? And just like her progression has been so incredible. Does it blow your mind like it blows mine? Because every time I see something, it doesn't seem even human to me.
Well, yeah, it absolutely does, and maybe a little less extent because, I watch her work day in, day out. I mean, the hours that she puts in it's really staggering. I work out with her. I can't really say I'm a training partner. I would like to claim that, but it's way too much volume for an old guy. But I do enjoy watching her do things and just the purpose that she attacks her day, and just her mental game is absolutely unbelievable. It's next to none. So it is surprising when I see some of the things that she does, and I'm just, it's gotten to the point where I'm not really wanting people to ask me what my numbers are on snatch.
Same.
I'm like, yeah, it's like I'm good.
Well, I mean, let's be fair, Mike. She snatched 200 at the Granite Games, so like that's a respectable number for anyone, male, female. Like that's a crazy amount of weight. And well, I'd hate to say effortless because certainly there's a lot of effort there. Like her form's just damn near perfect. Like it's just gorgeous, But I watch it and I'm like, I'd have no shot. I'm a reasonably strong dude for a 50-year-old. I'd have no shot at that lift. And man, she was just under it so fast. Blew my mind. Totally blew my mind.
It was a lot of fun, to be in the stands. We were right in front of her and actually on the grass berm there at the in the end zone. And I was standing next to her coach with brute strength, and he was telling her 200, and she was holding up the 5-pound plates. She was really wanting to hit 205, but it wouldn't have changed her score one bit, her placement one bit. But yeah, she had that number in mind. They'd kind of, to me, it seemed like they had originally said you were going to have 6 minutes to work up to your 1 rep, and then they ended up making it more of a spotlight snatch, which was fine. Kind of changed the game plan a little bit, but it was about a 3-pound PR on the competition floor. You can't ask for any more, honestly.
Mike, how did she fall into the level of dedication that you need to become this type of elite level athlete? Like, so young, like, where did she find that? How did she fall into that?
It's a really great question, Niki. And it's hard. It's one of those things that it's really hard to kind of nail down. Emma has always kind of tried to attack not just CrossFit, but every area of her life with excellence. She's a hard worker whether it be schoolwork, whether it be helping out around here, just whatever she does, she absolutely wants to focus on it and do it to the best of her ability. And always driven, especially with CrossFit. It's that, it's that 1% better that you hear people talk about. And, she's literally on a pursuit that she will never be good enough, if you know what I mean. It doesn't matter, when she wins the CrossFit Games, she'll be like, I could have done this, I could have done that better. And just chasing that excellence just every step of the way. Where it comes from, I'll tell her mom, I don't know.
Mike, that is so incredible, and you need that drive in order to be a top level competitor, but a little bit of a double-edged sword, right? Like, being that type of perfectionist or striving for that kind of excellence, it could leave you with a lot of disappointment and a lot of difficult times. How, as a dad, are you there for her to say, like, you did the best you could, or you really couldn't have done better? I mean, I feel like that might be difficult at times.
It is difficult. It is a little bit of a balancing act because she does want, what she wants is simple, and that's just to be the best, which is not simple. And so I think it's, and I'm glad to say that there has been a little bit of a shift in her mental focus from maybe it not being, saying, boy, that was not good. That was not good enough, to saying, next time I'm going to do A, B, and C to make this better. I think it's more of a mental thing to kind of keep the disappointment at bay, because, to never feel like you're good enough would have to be torturous, and to know to go out on that competition floor, or to be at our garage gym here or at affiliate, and to see progress, to see, whether it be faster cycle time on a barbell, or, more efficient movement of some sort, to see those little incremental things. I think she, in my view, she switched her focus to that, which is, it's maturity. It's maturity that you don't see in a lot of people in general, let alone somebody who's just barely 17. So can you tell, Niki, I'm a little proud.
Well deserved. John and I say this all the time because we've both had the privilege of working alongside the teen athletes for a couple of seasons now. And we say all the time, especially on the show, like, you can tell these kids are so much more than athletes. Like, they're good, respectable, responsible kids. Like there's so much more that comes with being able to snatch 200, that a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of their peers are missing, and they seem to be just buttoned up in all those other really important pillars of how they're building their social practices and how they're interacting with one another and their core values. Like it all feels like it lines up. Maturity is a good way of putting it.
What's interesting to me about the teens too, though, is that it's easy to forget they're teens. Like I watched Emma out there competing, and I realized she finished third, but in my mind, she won the Granite Games. I mean, not for a stumble over the box in that last round of lunges, she would have been first. And so you look at it and go, well, she can compete with the best in the world. There's absolutely no doubt. And then you watch the teens like come off the field and then they become teens again. That for me, that's the fun part. Like they start goofing off with their friends and they're laughing and joking. And you're like, okay, yeah, they're just like my daughters, except they're really, really strong, really fit.
So how do I make one of those? Someone tell me. How do I get this kid that's in my belly to be like that?
You're asking the wrong guy. Ask Mike. That's his forte, not mine. Mine won't even clean their room.
I tell you, to me, one thing, we've always tried to make ourselves proud when it comes to Emma, her mom and I. We've pretty much just put our lives on hold, which, we've been married a long time and we can do that, and focused on Emma because we feel like that's the right thing to do. We're pretty much where we're going to be. And if we can dedicate some extra time and some extra effort and keep her going down this path and to help maintain what she's doing, really it's our pleasure. It's we wouldn't do anything different. The big key, Niki, is just time. Spend all the time you can. And I've always tried to, I know you weren't really seriously asking, but I'm going to answer anyway. We've decided that we were going to raise our kid. We weren't going to farm him out, and not everybody can do that. And we were going to take all the time. And when she talked, we listened. If it was important to her, it was important to us. And it's really, there's no magic bullet here. It's just an exercise of time and priority.
I love that.
Well, and to your credit, Mike, like every time I see her post something, she's always so gracious in victory, and she's giving credit to God, not to even taking it herself, even with all the hard work she's putting in. Like just really, really mature young lady. When did you guys realize she was this talented? Like she posted a video the other day when she was like, if I'm remembering right, she was like 12, maybe, like really young. And so we're talking 5 years now. Like when did you figure it out?
I think she was 10, and she's giving me the 10 hand signal in the corner here. But she, it was one of those things where I started CrossFit briefly, and when I would come home, and I tell you, I don't know, I guess I've been doing CrossFit for 7 years, and maybe time makes you forget, but it hasn't me yet. Do you remember how incredibly sore and beat up you were the first 2-3?
That I still am. I still am.
Okay. I refer to this specialty as the first month of CrossFit sore. And to this day, we've been CrossFitting for a decade. To this day, when Matt and I complain, or when someone in the gym complains about like feeling sore, my go-to is always, are you sore or are you first month of CrossFit sore? Because first month of CrossFit sore is when you cannot lower yourself onto the toilet.
That's 100% correct, and I mean, dread getting your feet on the floor first thing in the morning because it's just gonna hurt. But and I would come home feeling like that, and she'd be like, "What'd you do today, Daddy?" And she'd drag me out in the front yard, and I'd run her through the workout. And it was finally I said, "Hey, Em, why don't you just come with to a kids class?" And I tell you, it took one time, and she was absolutely sold out. Matter of fact, she came home in the first couple of weeks and wrote a poem about CrossFit, and it's still hanging on the wall at the gym. So it's, yeah.
Oh my gosh, my heart.
Well, I've written a few poems about CrossFit too, but they're not able to be read in front of 17-year-olds. So
Yeah, we don't put those on the show.
we don't put
Is it?
those on the show in any capacity.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're very proud, and we are, we're thankful for some of the contacts and the connections we've made. This one included. I've enjoyed, even though it's, we might send a flurry of messages every 6 months and everything. It's always rewarding to know good people. So I appreciate it. There's a lot of interesting people we've met. Probably one of the most interesting that we met at the Granite Games was one of the rogue workers who was, helping assemble the rig. He was a supervisor, and we talked to him a couple times, and he finally introduced himself to me. It's Dave Castro's brother, Kenny. So,
oh yeah, Kenny's awesome. He's the best.
Amazing. I really enjoyed visiting with him, and he, of course, he had a lot of good things to say about Emma, so that always helps, But yeah, so it's been a fun journey, and honestly, I feel like we're probably just getting started.
Oh, for sure.
It'll be an interesting trip to the games for you guys this year. As you know, the elite athletes get a much different experience than the teen athletes do. And now that Emma's, had her big moment on the Granite Game stage, people are gonna know who she is. So they're gonna wanna, get photos and autographs, and it'll be a real interesting moment. Like it's fun.
Yeah, it absolutely will be. And it's I really admire her in the fact that she is able to kind of stay in her own lane, keep in her own headspace, keep in a good area. Because, we noticed a lot of people were wanting to interview and talk and visit with Emma at the Granite Games, and which is, very cool. CrossFit actually sent a filmmaker out to document her quarterfinals journey, and just a great guy. We really enjoyed visiting with Torrin and having him here, and just trying to treat him like family. But so it's been, it's kind of it's been a really surreal experience for me, because, honestly, we're just kind of common people who just kind of believe in doing right and working hard. So
I love that that's the lesson here. I love that, like, that's my favorite part of meeting you guys and of Emma coming through. And I'm sure I will see it when I eventually end up doing sideline interviews with her at the games. It's like, how'd you get here? What have you done? All the hard work is leading up to this moment. And I love that the answer is, my parents helped cultivate this, and we're just common people who believe in doing the right thing. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
I hope more people take a page out of that Cary book,
Well, thank you. That's a compliment. We've, I don't know. And honestly, she's been very easy to raise, which is probably good, because I probably didn't need a challenge. At least me. That's kind of the takeaway here. I don't think I was quite as easy to raise as she has been.
So how do you guys explain this whole CrossFit phenomenon to friends and family? Because I try to explain CrossFit to people that don't CrossFit, and it's like trying to explain, complex physics to someone. Is it a struggle? Is it funny? Like, what's it seem like to your friends and family?
Well, it is. It's. I'll be interested to see if you guys have had this experience. You tell people it has all these gymnastic, strength, and aerobic components, and you try to kind of get it out there, and invariably the conversation always turns to, so are you training for American Ninja Warrior? For that, I bet we hear that at least twice a month. Anybody that has no affiliation with CrossFit, that's where they go, and it's like, yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
It is kind of an interesting thing when you have, Emma's friend group, of course, is mainly gym people, but like her school friend group, man, they're proud of her, but they have no clue what she does. It's just, and I think she's invited them to come, and they're like, no, that doesn't sound like fun to me. So, it's it's a different path she's chosen, and she's glad she's on it. We're glad she's on it.
Yeah, it's hard to describe. I inevitably end up just saying that it's like a combination of weightlifting and gymnastics, and people tend to be like, "Oh, okay." And then I'm like, and then we like have a big worldwide competition, and then we whittle down the best athletes to basically what is the quote unquote Olympics of CrossFit. And they're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do that too. And then it's like, oh, so you're going to go to the Olympics? It's like,
Kinda, sorta. Don't worry about it. That's fine.
yeah.
You should try explaining it in my world, Mike. The first time I had to go to my boss and tell him I was flying out to Santa Cruz to meet with somebody at CrossFit. So I had to explain what CrossFit is, why I had to go to California, why I'm 50 years old and running a meme page. Like you start adding all that together, they're like, this is weird. Why are you doing this again? And
Sir.
but they don't understand the community. For me, that's the beauty of it, and getting to connect with people like yourself and meet your families and see what these amazing young people are doing. And you just meet people all over the world. Like, I think that's why we all do it. Add that in, of course, the Ninja Warrior connection.
Well, that, yeah, of course.
It is. Well, we actually just came back. We went up and Emma had a piece that was more suitable to do at our affiliate tonight than at our garage gym, just for floor space wise, a handstand walk piece. And so we went up there, and we do a lot of training here where it's just me and her and Marla in the box over there. And you really do miss the community. Sometimes you have to be so purposeful when you're training to be elite. You really have to you really don't have time to stop and visit. You have to keep moving, and but when we get a chance to go up there and spend a couple hours and get the work done that we need to get done and get to visit, it's a real bonus. So the community is a huge aspect of it. And wherever it seems like wherever we've gone, if it was our pre-CrossFit training days, as far as just kind of casual, go on vacation or something, it seems like we've always found the box that is basically like home, whether it be in Pensacola, Florida, or Galveston, Texas, or LA. We've always seemed to find people that welcome us in, and chances are it's not because of me. Chances are it's because of Emma. But because she is a lot of she moves so well and so efficiently. People who are any kind of a student of the sport, they see that and they're like, wow, she's really good. I'm like, thank you.
Thank you. I did that. Thanks very much.
So have you guys started talking colleges? Like, is this impacting college decision at all? Or are you keeping that totally separate from CrossFit?
I think we're going to hold off a little bit. Probably if you would have, probably a year ago, I would have been completely against that. She's currently like, she's going into her senior year as she's sitting in the valedictorian spot at her senior year. So, I mean, she's a very smart girl. Takes hard classes, she's already got a ton of college credit under her belt because of the classes she takes. But there is probably the deciding factor for me was how much I dislike the schedule that she has to keep to perform at this level. She was able to do about 2/3 of her classes virtually this year. So she would get up, we would eat, she would maybe do a couple hours of homework, then we would train for 2 or 3 hours, and she would go to school for a couple hours, home, doing all her fueling and everything, and then end up training sometimes another 5, 6, 7 hours. And basically a day going from 8:30 to midnight with every minute obligated. And I thought, really, I've got kind of an erratic schedule with my job. So, and, I can tell I'm not as healthy as I should be for what I do. And I blame a lot of it on just kind of a terrible sleep pattern, terrible sleep schedule. And, we talked about it, and college is always going to be there. And, to be a professional athlete at any level, whether it be CrossFit, football, baseball, whatever it is, the season is incredibly short, and so she's just going to focus on that and see where it takes her. And we support her. It like I said, a year ago, I would have been like, no, you got to have a plan B. Basically, she's choosing the hardest path she can, because she could punch her ticket, do anything she wanted, and this is what she's chosen. So we support her.
Have you guys ever had the chance to talk to Annie Thor's daughter? Have you met her yet?
No, we have not. We've seen her, been around her in warm-up areas here and there, but as far as actually having a conversation, we haven't.
Well, if you get a chance to, you should. If not, we should connect them, Niki. So Annie would be a great resource for you guys. She went to school to be was going to be a doctor. Is that right, Niki? Do you remember?
Something along those lines.
Yeah,
something in the medical profession.
And she did kind of what you're describing, and she's put it on hold because she said exactly the same thing, that the season to be a professional athlete is short, and just has this really great story about how rewarding it has been for her, as opposed to getting her medical degree. So, she might be somebody for you guys to talk to that can.
Didn't Danny do the same thing? Like, she started in the marine biology thing, and then she was like, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to focus on this whole CrossFit thing, so I'm going to just take a break and do that. I think the bottom line here is that it's bringing her joy right now, and she's excelling in it. So rather than hinder that process, because I'm with you, Mike, I'd be like, what's the plan here? You know what I mean? But rather than hinder the process and force her into this schedule of, like you said, every moment dedicated, like as a 30 something who is still like that, it's not healthy. It's not good. I don't have free time in my day because of all the things I'm trying to do always. Like, just focus on the thing. And graduating from high school in that valedictorian spot is going to mean that in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years, whenever it happens, she's going to be able to pick right back up.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a lot of people, I think, have trouble separating success from equating it with having a degree of some sort. I think it's a wonderful path to take. I don't discount education at all. But I think it's naive to think it's the only path. And and so I'm thankful that she, again, displayed some maturity to know that, because Emma does love to please us, as a family. She wants to, she's just a good person and everything. And I'd kind of come to the conclusion of what I thought was right. And then we talked about it. We were kind of on the same sheet of music. So it was, it was great. It was good to be able to have, even more common ground. And, there was some people like my folks, I thought, boy, they're not going to be on board for this. And they understood. They're great people, and they want what's best for Emma, and kind of understand that if you've got something, my goodness, how many people go their whole lives and find and to looking for something that they're passionate about and sold out to, and maybe think they find it, then realize in 6 months or a year later, it's like, maybe not. And,
right.
She's a 7 years of hard work, overnight success at this point. So
my new ultimate goal in life is to achieve a level of chill that the Carys have.
I know,
that's
right?
Like my new overall goal.
I was actually sitting here thinking they've done such a great job with Emma. I was hoping they could adopt a 19-year-old that I have upstairs right now that I can't seem to get to clean her room or do anything else around the house.
Yeah, how about a future kid who's going to need to be raised really well? If I just ship him up to you, Mike, how about a boy? You want to do a boy next? Just saying.
Yeah, I'd take a crack at it. I mean, why
Do
not?
ya? Yeah, of course, because the Carries are so chill. I'd be like, oh, a kid showed up. All right, let's do this.
So before we wrap up, Mike, I want to hear a little bit about you. You still hitting the affiliate? You still going on and doing your workouts?
A lot of my time is spent just doing things with Emma. I try to get up there and coach a couple of days of, a couple, 3 classes a week, because I enjoy it. I enjoy that aspect of it. It's, I tell you though, the volume that Emma does is unreal, and I sometimes think I'm going to scale it this way and maybe push her a little bit. And I just have to keep cutting things down a little bit so I can kind of keep her in my sights. It's a different thing for sure. But yeah, we've got a great affiliate, and it's fun to go, even if I don't do a class workout like I used to. It was like religion. I mean, it was every day, but now it's we've just switched gears a little bit, so it's good.
Well, I gotta say, Mike, the entire story is impressive, but I love the connection of, how you've role modeled, CrossFit, to your child as she's young, and you've had the benefit, reward, and almost the curse to some degree of watching them just steamroll past you, because I can relate to that because I've seen that happen in my own life. But then you also get the reward of seeing them steamroll past you, and I think that's a beautiful story. And I know I'm not the only one saying it, but knock on wood, you very likely have a podium winner in your sights very soon, if not this year, very soon, for sure. So she's a special athlete.
Thank you. Yeah, it's it's one of those things, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It's pushing towards that being better, and the deeper she gets into it, the bigger the goals get, the scarier the goals get. So it's fun to watch, and it's going to continue to progress. I honestly can't wait to see her on the competition floor in Madison. It's going to be a whole different set of tests, and it was funny when the Granite Games workouts started rolling out. It was like, oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. I mean, just didn't matter what it was. She's like, yeah, I'm ready for that. I'll do good at that. And so, she's really worked hard to sew up holes in her game, and that's not going to change the next 42 days. Oh.
Yeah, soon, really soon. All right, so last thing, we have a weepy hormonal mom to be on this podcast with us, Mike. Give your best piece of dad advice to Niki before she has this baby.
Best piece of dad advice. It's going to be something that she hears over and over again, and probably already has. Honestly, just hang on, because it's a fun ride, but it's a fast ride. So enjoy the small moments, because it goes way too quick.
Yeah, I have heard that from everyone. The phrase that always gets me is "it won't last," because it's like this, you're up at 4 a.m. and you haven't slept and whatever, and you're telling yourself like it won't last, thank God. But then you're feeding your little one, and they're not so little anymore, and you're realizing that really it won't last, and that's like heartbreaking. And that's kind of the phrase that always pops into my mind whenever anyone says anything like that. I'm like, whew, I gotta remember that one.
Yeah, for sure. And and you look up, and she's standing out on the competition floor with all these names that you've watched on live stream for years, and you watch her run out with that purpose, and it's like, wow, what happened? So quick.
See, now I'm going to be the weepy one. You can't do that to me.
I was embrace it.
Yeah, it's hard to embrace, Niki. It's hard to embrace watching them grow up and move on. Like, it really is. Like, I'm struggling with it right now. I'm not gonna lie. Mine are 19, 17, and one's almost out of the house. The other one's looking at colleges. It's just like, you just want them to still be babies again. So I'm going to live vicariously through little Axel, John Woolley, Matt Frazier, Brazier.
Matt Frazier.
That's
Perfect.
my,
You got it.
that's my plan. Well,
I'm just gonna ship them off to you. There you
perfect.
go. Done.
Perfect. Summer camp.
Good.
Summer camp at Make WODS Great Again. It's going to be good.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Mike, thanks for joining us. We really, really appreciate you coming in. Congratulations to your family on the season. And Niki and I are crazy excited to watch her go out and kill at the games. Niki's going to be interviewing her right on the sidelines. So
Fingers crossed.
fingers crossed.
That sounds wonderful. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Niki, great seeing you as always.
As always.
And for everyone listening, we will chat with you guys soon.